Talk, talk, talk. Midnight in the grove of the moon garden, with friends and fire and games and chases. Statues, animals, trees are all creeping in purple-black unlight. A whole society of unusual. The world swirls. Time is dancing in the darkness. Ghostly giggles float from the maze. The violet fire in your eyes sets free your imagination to conjure visions and sounds, and smells and textures and tastes. And the breeze pours them all together into a new cocktail that you drink through the medium of a laughing teapot. The grassy earth beneath your feet laughs. The moon turns his beams to you and laughs. The wind caresses your face and laughs. Time laughs and you laugh with her. And the rose bushes grow and twist to point the direction deep into the back of your own dreams. Pauperganda.
Hey everybody, it's Deluxe. I'm back. Clean. Table's a little clean. And we're here because we're gonna get mean with some mask stuff. So this is how it's hardened up. If you missed the first show, it's up on YouTube. Today's the same sort of thing. We're gonna be doing quite a bit of just mask making technology, showing you step 2 out of a 3-step process. And like I said, if the other one's available on YouTube, we're going to have a lot of illegal spoof commercials that will cause the upload of this on YouTube to be a little bit late, just because I let YouTube edit that out. I'm just trying to keep this show as mask-centric as possible. So anyway, without further ado, this is how it is hardened. I haven't done anything to it. But as you can see, there's a little fissure there, but it's not like a structural flaw. It's all like really rock hard. And we've got all kinds of good stuff. You can see how it's attached here. We've got the aluminum foil, and there's a little bit of stress cracks here and there. So we're gonna quite a few little steps here. Shiraz in the house. Thanks for joining me, my friend. So I'm just gonna kind of shake, rattle, and roll. It's gonna get a little noisy because of the mic sharing the surface here. I was debating whether I should take this all off live or not, but we'll see. We're going to just pull this here. Again, if this is on your face, it's going to be a lot easier to come off because of aforementioned Vaseline and stuff, but I'm just going to shake like crazy and keep moving these things forward here. We'll get the mask to come off here eventually. Let's see, we got this here, little crack in the wait there. Boy, this is getting messy. Let me get my mic out of the way here real quick. Sorry about that. I need all the hands on deck that I can get. Okay. There must be something else that maybe the foil got. This is very common. It's a tough part of the process. Just got to be gentle and firm. There we go. So the head comes off. We've got the old death mask destro on the inside. We'll set that there. For those of you that didn't see the first show, it's a kind of a concrete bust of my head from a long time ago. It's getting pretty old and cracked, but I'll set that over here. Oh. We'll move the mic back into the audio range that makes sense. And so now, a much lighter mask. So we're going to just take off all this aluminum foil and show you the inside of the mask here. It's had a whole week, so it's plenty dry. A lot of times I get a little ahead of myself and overzealous and try to do something that's not quite ready, but quite the big cleanup show. So as you can see, these edges they're pretty strong. I didn't know we built it that strong. And this is where the hole of the mask is going to be hidden right here. We're actually going to be attacking that first and cutting out the eyes and the mouth and stuff. And then we're going to do some structural things, as you can see on the mask here. We're going to have to, cut out a little area there, and then we'll resupply it with some of the same stuff we did last week. Hey, little fights now. It's all right. And then we'll shore up the edges, cut the eyes, go to some breaks, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, this is the majority of the stuff I'm going to be using today is this. It's called this creative paper clay. I've used a lot of different kinds of clay. This one's the best. If you can find it, I would really recommend, if your hobby shop doesn't have this, to order it on Amazon. It's so easy to work with. Another note, have lotion nearby, because boy, you can really, your hands can get really, really chappy. All right, I got to keep the fluids going because, drum roll, my cough came back with a vengeance on Sunday and hasn't left me alone since. So I've got just your basic Dremel tool. Might get a little loud here, but I like to have the what do you call right behind the eyes here, or adjacent to the eyes. I like to put just a little hole there for the not very big, but big enough to get our next part through. And then I'm gonna, you can see we got the little, the hole there. And I'll do about the same on this side. Just eyeball it. Sorry if the audio's a little loud. And I believe that'll do it for that. Make sure that winds down. Now, one thing I've always wanted to do, and I always forget to do, I've done it maybe once. These, they're called, let me see here. They're called eyelets. And we use them for masklets. But what they are is just a nice way to reinforce when you do have a string on this mask. It's a nice way to just keep it looking pro. So I think there's a male-female end, if I'm not mistaken, and they're going to go together. Let's see. We've got that side. Hey, did I just get a bunch of the same parts? No. These are all good. I should have probably done this first. Read how to do it here. For belts, shower curtains, tote bags, and pillows, use eyelets to create laced effects on garments and craft projects. Okay. Well, all right. That's pretty cool. So I thought these had more of a rivet structure to them, but they look to be all the same. So hold on a minute here. Yep. Weird. Okay. So for designing, I want to push this through nice and snug here. Sorry, not the best on camera version of this. As you can see, it makes for a nice, just more of a pro outside area there. And we'll cover that up. You've got to be kidding me. I thought these would close like a rivet does, but I guess they don't. I could just smash the exterior, I guess, but that would kind of defeat the purpose there. Alrighty. Well, we've got that. It looks nice from the outside. A lot better than just a hole in the mask, but we'll go from there. All right, so now we're going to do some heavy lifting. First, just some cutting. See, sometimes you get a little bit of ththese flaws and stuff like that. So she's in the house. All right, sorry to hear about the cough. Yeah, it's quite the bad health year for me. I'm usually healthy as an ox or whatever the saying is, but this year had my first bit of hospitalization, all that stuff since I was born. So it's been quite an ordeal, but I'm all right. Everything's fine. Now you see how this edge is a little flimsy, but nobody's going to see that. But still, I like to reinforce it when I can. And like this, how it comes apart, we're gonna be putting that together. You'll notice in here, or we kind of gooped a lot of that stuff in there. It's all good. We'll be set. So if you'll notice here, one of the first things I do want to cut into before I get too long here. What's Shiraz? I've been sneezing like a madman. Yeah, everybody I know is getting something sick. Now you'll notice our what is that? I forget what that's called. The right below the lip, the little shush mark that it's like I used to tease like it's when God's telling you to shut up. That's why you got that little crease right there. Notice there's not much of one here, but the distance between the nose to the mouth is a little more pronounced. So I'm actually going to use the top of my lip as the opening area mark, and we're just going to do just a rough estimation of where this stuff's going to go, and it does come down here a little bit. Not going to be the easiest mask to talk with, but that ruins the illusion. If you ever have kind of a cool mask look, you want to make sure to keep your mouth shut. Nothing ruins the illusion like, oh yeah, we're going to In-N-Out after this. All right, so this actually comes down a little bit and it bevels to the outside edge. I'm just gonna say that, and this is just for the holes. I'm just trying to make sure we're getting pretty close to symmetrical. All right, now the eyes too. This is interesting. The eyes definitely go up a bit. We're going to have to make sure that we have an accentuation there too with the clay later. This one has a bit more of a curve. See how this is a bit more of a curve. This is a bit more of an angle, which is nice. It's a very, what would you call it? Unbalanced? Yeah. Now with eyes, you got to be a little more forgiving as far as what the art calls for and what is going to be safe, because you're like me, you like to wear this on Halloween and you're walking around town and you don't want to be struck by a car and have a permanent death mask. Although it'd be a nice one to be known for, wouldn't it? We'll put that in there. I mean, we know where the eyes are just because of this, but it's nice to know, like, hey, don't go further than this or that sort of thing. I'm going to go a little bit more in here. We can keep these a little bit bigger than normal. Let's see, that's about right there. And again, sorry if I appear like I'm ignoring the chat. I just gotta. It's a head down operation, I tell you. My oldest son Alex was cracking me up because he doesn't watch much Pauperganda because he's not into magic too much, but he's actually become kind of he liked the mask show. He said it put him to sleep a few nights, and I was like, well, wait, how should I take that? Is that because I'm boring? He's like, no. All right, so we've got this and this. This obviously has to arch a little bit higher to match the other. And let's see, this one's a little bit more even on the approach. And we're going up a little bit more on this side here. I think we're going to have to come in a bit there. Okay. And we'll do this stuff in a little bit, but for right now, you can kind of see how it's coming together. It's gonna get loud again. Apologies, folks. It is a craft building show. I'll put the coffee on Gary's lap there, and without further ado, apologies for the noise. I'll move the mic off to the side so it's not too loud. It's tough to start, but once you get it going, I'll be all right. I should be wearing a mask, but so I think that's close enough for that. Now, I should be a lot quicker because we built up the mouth quite a bit, so there was quite a bit to chew through there, so sorry about that. Ha ha. This is going to be one dusty show. All right. Heavy lifting's almost over. A lot easier to cut through the eye area. I got a pretty barbaric tool here for doing this. It's just like a rough saw edge. It's okay if you overshoot the eyes, because we can just fill them up and we're going to reinforce them with stuff too. Get natural eyelashes, that's for sure. Go in a little bit deeper here. And that's close enough for what we're going to be doing, because we're going to be reinforcing this. We want to pull these all back like this. And apologies for the noise. I'm going to just keep going here. Structurally, the one thing else I want to do differently, let me move this over here. Sorry for the noise. Woo! Sorry, everybody. Let me check up. Welcome up. Shiraz. Hey, Kronos 878. Sorry to be such a noisy intro to the show. It's good this is just chalk plaster. I know it's probably not the best stuff to breathe. I should probably wear a mask. If you're doing this, wear a mask. It's not like it's toxic or anything though, but good habit to get into. I'm going to take another little chunk out of this here. Again, just taking the areas here. This side just doesn't have as much of a bell curve there, but we'll see. I can maybe make this a little bit more rounded. Doesn't have to be exact, but it'd be nice if it was. We'll do like that. We'll do like that. Let's see, that side. I don't know. That side comes up quite a bit higher, doesn't it? Let's see. If we took that part down, that's cool. We have to take this part way up to be about the same there. All right, I think there. Erasers are good. All right, let's do this. Let's see what else we got. So see, this time and last time was a nightmare, huh? Oh, oh no, something about a flood. All right, so the mouth is looking pretty close. We'll fine tune that in a sec. Oh, be nice to have nose holes. Should probably bust those in. Believe me, sometimes just breathing through your mouth, the mask can get pretty humid on the inside there. So we're going to do that. We're going to cut this, and then the noise part of the show will be over. So I'll move the mic over here. So I'm going to move it down here, and we'll go for the last little bit. Might get a little chunky in here because we've got cardboard to deal with. Let's see, we got that. Turn this up on high. Up. We'll just use that as a step. All right. Sorry for the wind. I do believe. Sorry about all the noise, guys. Kind of unnecessary. Now, the last week I showed you how to, or at least illustrated how to give the mask when you're doing it in real life with Vaseline and everything. This is the advantage you get when you do it that way. You don't cover up nose holes, so you don't need these power tools. You have this is already done. You don't cover your eyes as much. You just you can use a saw. There's not too many bad things, but so I tried to even up this little feature here. We'll fix this with clay in a bit. I'd like this edge to be a bit more pronounced, but I'm just going to use clay to do that. I was going to start cutting into this, and I'm like, you know what? I think it's a lot smarter, not harder, to do it the other way. So before I get started with the clay, we're just going to move on to throw the little bits in here, what we were doing a little bit of last week. And we're just going to reinforce the edge one more time, especially up at the top here. I'm just going to want to put this here to just really, it's all dry now again, so it's going to take a little bit of going. It's funny, when I was using that Dremel tool through the cardboard section, you saw some smoke there. Shouldn't be any big surprise. It's a lot of friction going on there. Here we go. We'll bring this in here. We just did our traditional Friday night draft again last night. I won for the second week in a row, so I'm feeling like I'm starting to understand Theros draft a little bit. There were like 20 people at the draft. It was pretty cool. My son, unfortunately, after his really rocket start and winning right out of the gates, he's had some tough ones. He's got that, what was it, the 2.5 hexproof flyer, dude, that's just like totally unstoppable. But I'm sure you've all been there where you have the perfect draft and for some reason you just lose. And so he's going through that now, but he's playing a draft right now on MTG Arena. So gotta just thickening this up. Again, this is pretty unnecessary. I tend to make my masks way too strong. Being that I'm out and about with them and stuff, I like to make sure I'm not gonna take a fall, drop it, that sort of thing. It can survive quite a bit of stuff. So I just reinforce the edge here, doubling up. Put this on here. And it also adds so that, we don't have some cut edge just kind of pulled off or whatever. Make sure not to, cover up the ringlet there. I want to back off of that. Go from here. Again, sorry I'm not too much on the chat side of things today, guys. I got to keep my head down and the plaster flowing. All right. Okay, here we go. And here we are. I'm just rubbing this in last week. It's just reinforcing the edge. But yeah, if you so glad you guys joined me here live, because you're going to see some old Upright Citizens Brigade skits that you can't really see on YouTube or anything anymore. It's I don't know why. It's sometimes they mask some of them, and other ones they don't care if you shout from the hills and share it all over the place. But all right, so we're just doing this, watering the edge, any like black areas, and with this little chalk dust, rub it in there. More the merrier. It's just going to turn into good stuff. You don't want to build this up too much because then it won't fit your face. But at the same time, I like take this, double it up, and then I take it on this little structural soft spot. Just double it up. You'd be glad you did. And 50, 100 years, whatever, they'll be like, wow, this thing's made pretty well. It's like, yeah, that old timer knew what he was doing. All right, I'll throw this in here just to give that a little less of an edge there. Old meets new. Sorry for the bump mic. All right, so this is going here. Just want to make sure this is in here. Woo. Thanks for joining me, everybody. Sorry I'm not much reading up on the chat. Hopefully I can keep that little fight and Shrazamon in the house to help me out. Keep things flowing. Pretty soon we might start resembling a gray merchant of Asphodel, or however the hell you say it. So here's that little eyelet. See, doesn't that look better than just some hole dug in there? Not that anybody's really going to see it, but want to really, ideally, if you built around these, like if you found a rivet and then you swirled the plaster, let it harden, and then use that as like the beginning of the mask. I've always wanted to do that, and I never think far enough ahead. Or I think, I'll do it next time. That sort of thing. All right, so we've got these parts here. I know I'm forgetting all kinds of things. I'm gonna have to put a little wingtip on that. But we're getting there. It's getting kind of close here. Let's see what we got here. Hooray for the push cards, for sure. Push. Oh, quick smoke. All right. Well, I'm gonna have a quick coffee break. Yeah, I had to reprint the artwork, and I elevated Gary this time so that there's a little distance here. So hopefully we don't have as much water on this show today, but I also don't want to have it turn into the Water World show like it did last time. All right, so I see a little structural issue here. This is getting away from us in here, so I'm just gonna merge it. Just Fortunately, you guys will have to learn from that mistake. It'll just cause a shelf if you do that, meaning like it'll you just pull one of these, like it'll feel like hard cardboard just up against your face. So just want to smooth that out, make sure that's good. Now ideally, this is where I would wait, I don't know, 20 minutes, and we would just ignore this part. But see how I got that all nice and flush in there? See how there's a line right here? This one's not so bad. It's strong right there. I'm just, again, we're just trying to build up. I should probably do something here. Just one more. See, this is a little flimsy, and you never know. Maybe some, what do you call, Walking Dead scenario will happen in real life, and you'll have to wear this mask to day after day and take all kinds of damage and represent some Mad Max style clan in the apocalyptic world. I know I'm reaching, but hey, you don't want to have to stop and reinforce it then, do you? Of course not. That's what D's here for. All right. We'll rock that up. Boom, boom, boom. Look at that. We got nice little custom things. And, you know, once everything's painted, we'll take this and we'll scratch it clean again. So you don't have to baby it right now. On the inside, no, it's just a drilled hole. I really thought that was a rivet. I should have got rivets. I was like, oh, hey, these look like the perfect part, and they're the same color tone and everything. But what you gonna do? Chopsticks are always good to keep around if you're making a mask. They just act as smaller fingers and help you pick your mask nose if you need to, like as noted there. All right, so now the fun part. All of our heavy lifting's kind of done. We can definitely see the mask coming through. Let me get another drink here. So, and we'll definitely mess some things up. It's not going to be a perfect one-to-one. But now, off to Clayland. I do believe, structurally, we're going to set this stuff up. This stuff is awesome. I just take little bits at a time. I want to think about where we're going to want to build up first. Probably want to focus on the mouth area. Again, I pretty much throw this whole thing in water and then wet the areas here just so it holds better. But there's not much to this other than you just squish and go. Trying to make this as uniform as possible, and also keeping in mind, you know, we've got these really, really prominent heavy cheekbones that the structure's got, so we'll put a big dab there. Again, we're just kind of wetting the mask again there, otherwise it just won't hold. So we're gonna just start rubbing these things in. This is when the what do you call the toothbrush? What am I talking about? The chopstick comes into place. So a lot of watering, a lot of molding down. We're not fine tuning. We're just smoothing things out. We're taking things, and that's why you want to build strong, because I tend to push a little bit too hard on a lot of these things, and so you can get away from you pretty quick if you're not paying attention. So just globules. We're just squishing and mushing and doing all these things. See, we can always cut into it later. I really hope I can do this in 3 shows. It might go to 4. Who knows? It was like, oh no. Hopefully you like it. And last week, sorry for that voyeuristic ending. I didn't even know the mic was on, and I'm glad I kept rolling because it made for a pretty funny show. But the chat just stopped, so that's why my communications did too. But we're just putting very basic. What I'm after here isn't what's on the paper, meaning like what we're trying to copy right now. I'm just trying to make this all cohesive. I'm trying to find any areas where it's trying not to be part of the mask, and I just squish it in there and push, because the more we do this, the more it's going to grow. I'm going to open up the mouth here. Just keep kind of doing this. It's just going to naturally flow up. Again, there's very little to go wrong here. You just kind of keep moving and flowing. You want, on a mask like this, we're going to have to build it up quite a bit, and it's pretty smooth. So, you know, we can already start making some of the features here for that like lower lip, you see. Getting this thing going here. from there. Just trying to build, squish, build. We can always add little bits later, but you can see that things are starting to come in. I think I grabbed a little bit too much last time. Just gonna keep it here. We got a lot. This is pretty damn prominent cheek area over here, so we're gonna just kind of keep working on this, squishing and moving. Push this in here. And again, we take little bits here. I can just pull this off, wet the nose, make sure the nose we'll start filling in a lot of these impurities, because the coolest part, these two elements really talk to each other well, because they're, you need a rough edge to hold, and that's what you're left with after you start with the mask, and then you can keep moving from there. So it's pretty cool. Alrighty, I think my youngest he's really into Gray Merchant of Asphodel right now, and always wanting to collect more of them, and just the new artwork. Kid after my own heart, I tell you. And we'll just put this on here, put this here, build this here. I'm nervous today just because there's just so much that needs to happen to the mask here, and you never know how things are going to turn out. And we're just rolling live. I'm not pre-recorded or anything, so might screw up big time. Who knows? Maybe we'll come up with a mask that's even better than the original. Maybe the artist, somebody will contact him and be like, hey, check this out. I've got some questions for him already. I'm just smoothing this out. And I'm just grabbing little bite-sized chunks here. I don't want to build up the nose too much, but I also like to layer things up here. I probably should have reinforced the eyelets here with a little bit more canvas paper. Keep these flares from happening. But I think we'll be all right. I'm going to build that up. So we can get this nice and smooth. And again, I'm just going to go over these areas that we were just on and just keep things kind of moist. I don't want anything setting up. It's not like it's going to harden in 2 seconds or anything like that, but still, just keep things moving. General areas, that sort of thing. There we go. All right, this nose needs to be a little sleeker. The idea is you wear this to a con or something like that, and somebody goes, hey, and they know it right away. Pretty hard not to, really, but it could happen, depending on how many liberties you take. That nose hole sure got a lot smaller just now. Make sure that doesn't happen. Keeping it breathable. Keeping these things rocking. And when this hardens, you'll get these little tiny cracks and stuff too here and there, and that's what really good acrylic paint is for. Able to throw those back together and such. Going to try to keep a few of these areas a little fallow. This area is built up a bit more, so I'm going to get to that right now and try to keep this area smooth so that the features are that much more prominent when they do come through. Here we go. Grab a little here. Grab a little there. Well, that didn't look good. Whoopsie. Took a little bit too much out of that side. Grab this here. Go red. Again, sorry, I can't really look at the chat very much here today, guys. Just kind of rolling with it. Here we are. Build up as opposed to take away. You keep adding the mask strength. Weight too, but it's not that heavy. This is a breeze to hold compared to that concrete bust of my head. Make sure to put this paper clay in like a Ziploc bag afterwards too, because it can get pretty dry pretty fast. But so here I'm just taking really thin edges, and I'm just trying to get away from any impurities. Like in here. Take this extra bit here, fill it in here, just smushing it, making it all merge, making it all one, that sort of thing. Boop-a-doo. If anybody out there has little kids, if you watch Disney Channel, my new music video just debuted yesterday. It's called Mira, the Royal Detective. It's in steady rotation right now. Yours truly cut the whole thing. There's a 2-minute, a 60-minute, and a 30-second version. Pretty cool fun show to work on. Amazing group of animators and all kinds of people coming together to make that show possible. Unlike this show, which only takes one person to come together, which is yours truly. All right. Move this over here. We're just zigging and rolling. Speaking of bobbing and weaving, big fight tonight. Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder. It's going to be hopefully pretty epic. I hope it's not a really fast one because I'm thinking of getting it. I don't know. Pay-per-views are so damn expensive. Even when you can write them off or still. But by the time you go to a bar, you pay for a few beers, something rather, and on top of that, if you're like me and you don't really like crowds, sometimes you end up saving money if you do get it at home and you use your own nice clean bathroom and have your favorite drinks and slippers on and don't have to get dressed up. I know I'm sounding old, aren't I? All right, so this area is going to be built up, so we might as well start now. We're going to just start adding some stuff here. I'm so ignoring the chat. I'm sorry. What was it called? Did it make sure the clay? All right. We got some backseat mask makers, I guess. I'll get there. I'm going to rub these out here. Rub this in here. Away here, we'll build that area up. This is quite the endeavor. I remember when I first thought of this, I was just like, yeah, I'll bust that out. And I was like, oh my goodness, now it's starting to turn into quite the, I'm looking at it going, boy, can I really do this in this many shows? I don't know. We'll see. Tell you, last week, I was so grateful for those longer commercial breaks. Thanks again to the Upright Citizens Brigade for their comedy sketchings, but mostly because your hands, even though you're dipping them in water and stuff, boy, they get really, really sensitive, and you just start feeling a little chapped and stuff, so you need some definite lotion breaks and washing your hands and starting over and stuff like that. So stuff like this is really fun. Like if you were just doing your own mask, you just go by the feel of it. You don't have to, there's no rules to the game. We're trying to copy something, so we've got a guide, but a lot of times you can, leave something really rough like that. And then if you pocket and all this stuff, and then you add stain or paint to it later, or even fire, it can get some really neat looks to it. Like I was talking about that texture and stuff like that. So, all right. So we're going to start trying to build up this here cheekbone shelf. I'm just going to kind of nudge. Wet this tip here. Open up the mouth here. Roll like this, and we'll go from there. Let's see. It's getting there. I mean, paint can help the shelf there too. Keeping things rolling, keeping things flowing. Get that going there. We still gotta just want to pay real close attention to the little angles. Like in here, it's like, yeah, it'd be nice. I'm not going to act like that's finished, so I'm just going to squish and pull. Let's see here. I'm getting there. So we got a little bit of let's see, it comes down here like this. It's a pretty sharp edge there. I'll just assume it's a mirror on that side. We can draw in here. This is going to go like this. So let's try to build up that area even more. The lips are going to have to be a little bit more pronounced. Maybe throughout in here. Not too much material. Little goes a long way. We can give the illusion of an edge with a nice shadow. We don't have to build up too much there. The physics of painting doesn't always equate to the mask in question, if that makes any sense. So I'm going to flatten this area out. I'm pushing pretty good here. I'll try to just build this little bit of a shelf edge here. Going to keep things moving. And we've got this area needs to be in there. This could use some more here. I'm going to squish in here. Again, squish, 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 squish. I'm trying to keep the area there. Let's see, is the clay just for shaping or does it provide structure too? Well, if you listen, this is pretty strong. I mean, it definitely provides some structure, but it's 99% for shaping. And fine tuning. If you look really close, I know it's a little blown out, but see the little, almost like pores in the skin, just like an arm cast sort of thing. So a lot of times if you leave it really rough, depending on what you're after when you make a mask, it can get really cool. But we're trying to copy something here, so smoother the better. And I've tried sanding stuff before, and it's a nightmare because it's cloth. And so you sand a little too deep and you start getting frays, and then the integrity goes bad. So just, it adds a nice layer to it and allows you to just kind of keep moving with that. So let's see. I'll keep this here. My hands are getting really dry, believe it or not, even though I'm in all this water here. So see, just by using our thumb, hey, this is yours too. I'm going to squish this in. I know it doesn't look that great right now. Just hang with me. Keep integrity. See, there's a little pock mark there. Like, I don't want it to appear like I just dropped, some Play-Doh on there. You gotta squish it all together and then shape it, So, let's see, we got here. Try to make this, start finalizing maybe this little bit of a false edge here, going along the side here. This is a little bit too built up, so we'll go like this, and it's trying to get away from us there, what I was just talking about with that edge. So I'm gonna squish it in. We can always add. Always easy to take away, but so we'll work on this side here. This looks like it's a pretty abrupt turn. I'm just going to keep that there. Again, there is such a thing as mask haters out there. There's going to be hundreds of parts on this mask that you're going to be able to go, oh, wait, well, that's technical, and it's like, well, all I could say is you go for it. There's a lot of, like Bob Ross talks about, happy mistakes and little areas where you just are like, hey, you know what? That's how ours turned out, sort of thing. So just like if you were to copy like a Bob Ross painting, right? You wouldn't expect it to look identical. We're going to do our best, but it's probably not going to go down that way. Now, again, once we get the foundation down, that's cool. But we're also going to add paints. We can add some charcoal colorings to really accentuate stuff. I'm not really going to do much to this edge other than paint, It's I'll put a little bit of a divots here and there. But thank you for alerting me to that little fight. It is nice there's something very pressing as far as a concern goes for the chat. To get a little text alert saying, hey, read the chat, you jackass. All right. I like to do that. I'm just being pretty rough with the mouth here. Going like this. Again, don't want to build that side up too much. Don't want to ignore this side either. So re-wet it here. Go from here. Let's see. Yeah, it's got to come down quite a bit more. So I'm going to ruin all of this stuff. Underestimated how much goop to goop on there. It's all right. We just add more. No biggie. I know what I need. I need some coffee. Okay. Cracking up over my oldest liking this show. I was like, wow, it takes off. Gosh, there's plenty of masks to do in Magic, and at this rate, they take about 3 shows each. So hopefully this is a hit and you guys like it. At least the chat's working this week. Last week I thought I was just kind of no man's land here. So I'm just mushing. You know, I'm supposed to build that edge up, but if you don't, you're going to get a little structural flaw there, and I do not want that. I can still keep some of the stuff. I don't think I came down far enough with the if we look at, you know, how it goes down right there. So I've been looking at this mask way too much, and it definitely seems to come out a bit more like a sword tip here. Let me just squish this down because this is the area. Ugh. Okay, there we go. There comes down, and it's pretty abrupt chop in there. Really into this album by the Decemberists. One of my favorite bands. It's like at most bands, you know, you forget about them and you come back to them and you're like, oh my gosh, but there's this album called I'll Be Your Girl. Anybody fan of Plague Rusalka in Magic for the, I think that's that black creature that gives -1/1. There's a song called Rusalka on it that's really good. I didn't know that was a river spirit. It's pretty cool. It's like a mermaid, but very nefarious and always aiming for doing men in and stuff. Of course, it's probably men that made the legend in the first place. There's only so many Mary Shelleys in the world, especially back then. Thankfully now, getting a lot more. All right. So I like this side. This side needs to go a little bit wider. I'll just push. Push. Don't want the mouth to keep going in, so I keep such a nice basic mouth structure. Just there I go again. How'd you like that adjective? Let's see, we're it's getting kind of close. I think we're gonna just keep taking this edge down a bit there. Take that out. There we go. I didn't even look to see if there's some like tournament going on today, or I think last week was some big event, some Worlds thingy, some Pioneer format, way too many planeswalkers and such. Guess I'm a bit biased. Now, when you do want to sand something down, we can sand the clay. Just have to have enough built up that it makes sense to do so. So I'm going to push this out just a bit more. And when I have these extra bits, I'm just going to rub them into the areas that I'm going to want to make smooth later anyway. We'll rock like this. Kind of nondescript, like what it actually does down here. It does come to a bit of a point, not really a point, but just a muted edge sort of thing. So I just want to keep sure that it's on center and stuff. And I think we're going to leave that be for now. As far as, look at it straight on and stuff. It's getting, get it to where it's like a little bit more like that. Getting there. We're getting there. Like I said, a lot of happy mistakes going on. Good times. All right, so I like that edge. I'm going to kind of leave this area alone. Just looking over for last minute little doohickeys and stuff I don't like. And we're going to support it like this. Well, I got my hands wet. Go to commercial in probably about 10 more minutes or so. But for right now, I'm just going to water down these edges. Get a little messy here. I'm just going to try to make the mask as smooth as possible. Getting rid of a lot of these things. Trying to just rub it in here. It'd be nice if I had a cameraman or like full-on studio sort of vibe. I could be like, hey, zoom in on that. But here's a cheap man zoom. It's called getting close. Z-axis, baby. Woo! All right. Here's this. I'll plug that in here. But yeah, the Decemberist albums, really recommend it. Got most of their stuff. I really liked some of their first songs. They have a really cool song that's like 12 minutes long about being swallowed by a whale, Moby Dick style. It's funny, my buddy Bergeron, he at his wedding, all of us, we call ourselves the pals. We've always been so close and all on the same page with everything, and we all knew the song like crazy. And so, the wedding's going on, and we the DJ's told to play this song, so I don't think he looked at the running time, and it's like 13 minutes or something. The Mariner's Revenge, I think it's called. And we proceeded to look like we choreographed a dance. It's just the benefit of hanging out with the same people for so long. We're all kind of on the same page. And it was just a really funny day. But so about, 4 or 5 minutes into the song, everybody kind of had those nervous claps like, okay, this is kind of weird. It's cool, but it's kind of weird. And, well, and then you get those nervous like, okay, yeah, here, it's coming to an end, right? It's like, nope. And I think at one point me or somebody else shouted out like, only 10 more minutes. And they had that nervous laugh like, I hope they're kidding, but we weren't. It's on a video somewhere. Pretty good times. Real thin through here because I'm honestly, see how smooth the forehead is. Uh-oh, our first water drops have hit. Darn it, I was trying to keep this hydroblast free, but oh well. All right, just rocking and rolling here, smoothing and smoothing. Just doing this and trying to catch any areas that are... It's amazing, the clay will pronounce what areas you should have smoothed out prior and stuff. There's all kinds of things like that. Now, when I look at this straight on, this one will need to be built up a little bit, like more of a, I cut this one a little too much, so I'm going to goop this on here. And what I'm going to do, might not be the smartest idea right now just because I'm going to lean this on something and then it's going to completely ruin this edge. But I need to build this edge up a little bit more to match the other side so that it's a little, more symmetrical. So I'm going to pinch this up so it's like this. This is the stuff I can revisit later or put some canvas on it to really make it structurally a lot stronger. You can see this back side here. It's just kind of, oh, there I go again with that damn adjective of a sound effect. But that's kind of what it feels like. You want to make this edge kind of a little tapered there. Again, we're not after absolute perfection, but it would be nice if it looked a wee bit symmetrical. Although the painting really doesn't. It's just kind of two random edges, so we'll take our liberties where we can. All right, and then I'm just going to make sure, see this area is kind of drying up, but I want to make sure that there's no, like, as much as I can. Much easier to fix now than chop into later or sand or whatever. So it's going to go like this. See, we got a little area right there kind of trying to be a problem. Flatten this out a little bit more. We're not nearly done with that side, but I'll keep it a little bit moist. Going like this. Sorry, I'm so ignoring the chat, guys. Apologies. Wish I had eyes like the beholder in D&D, but I don't. All right. Yeah, my oldest, Alex, he's as a child, was incredibly frightened by the beholder. Still is, he informed me the other day. Texted him, we were at the Magic store, and one of the D&D manuals had it on the front. I'm sure you guys have seen it. I was like, hey, is this still scary? He's like, yep. I was like, well, that's honest. Here we go. It's supposed to rain today, so I'm in a very good mood. Despite my heavy dosing of Dayquil lately. So if you look at the eye here, see, this is the kind of stuff you want to avoid. I was just trying to get away from it. It's trying to make a shelf. I just want to make sure everything's the same. Like I said, highly recommend getting into this. It's very therapeutic. I'm going to keep holding this up, and just little bits here and there. We're just smoothing stuff on. Let's see one of these altar artists do this, right? Aha. I'll see your art and I'll raise you 3 dimensions. Yeah, but there's a really haunting tune by the Decemberists about the Rusalka. One of my favorite on the album. Very melancholy, but I always like those kind of tunes. Always has the opposite effect on me. People listen to sad music and they get sad. I don't know. Little Fight and a few others are always teasing me about how my meter's broken when it comes to like how I like cloudy days, and I can watch like a documentary on a serial killer or some horror movie to go to sleep just fine. I don't have any issues with the typical stuff. I was born a contrarian, I tell you. Yeah, it's just a hauntingly beautiful song about a Rusalka, of course. That's the name. I build up the eye area there a little bit. Looking for, I'm gonna need some knowledge to go off of here. Hopefully my jiggling isn't coming through on the mic too much. Everything's kind of married together here. I'm just squishing out any sort of offending areas that are just trying to grab your attention that aren't needed, because it's a pretty, let's see, I got squish here, squish here, squish here. I'm gonna have to clean up Show City, man. That should be an after show. The after mask stream cleanup. It's only an hour long, folks. All right. I'm adding a bit here just because there's a bit of plaster that kind of prominent there, and I'm really going for that smoothness. So if I add too much to the forehead, that's fine. I can sand it next week. I might do that off camera. Oh no, the water droplets are making the green show up. I don't think it's very obvious on the feed, but in person here, it's pretty cool. It's like when you see a oil slick under a car, and I used to stare at those for hours as a kid. Little universes of just oil, and sometimes a bug would jump in it and look like he's just disturbing one of the rings of Saturn, or I guess on some realm that's true, given quantum and all. All right, here we go. I'm gonna grab some of this, gonna go like this. I'm gonna rock like this. Thanks for joining me, guys. Hopefully you're getting your chill on. A lot of these little how-to or watch somebody do something is kind of a nice little reprieve from the grind, from and things being a little too busy. That's what I'm after. Yeah, that's what I meant. All right. Put a little bit of this here. See what the chat's saying. That D, move the mic back. Oh, Was that earlier or now? Am I too close? I guess you could just toggle the volume. Apologies. Mic towards me or back away from me? How do you mean? Back would mean further. Cranked up max on my end. Oh, I have everything cranked up max on my end and I can barely hear. Is anybody else having an issue with that? I'll keep reading there. I hope not. I think I got it pretty damn close. Should be plenty loud. Unless I've got the... No. Anybody else having issues hearing me? Let me know. I mean, I'm not always talking, so I guess there's that. Let's see. Actually, I can hear fine. Just turned up my Twitch screen volume. All right. Well, that's kind of weird. I wonder if I can adjust the gain a little bit, but I mean, I'm like right in front of it like I usually am. Not quite sure what the deal is on that. Maybe it's because if I'm down here, I'm talking to it. If I'm up here, I think it's let me bend it a little bit more towards me and see if that helps. Be a little bit more pointed at my face that way. So I'm kind of over it and it's supposed to be at it. I can't do much else. All right, so here we are. I'll build this stuff up. Pretty sure my youngest Aaron is going to want to wear this for Halloween, so everyone. Good way to find other Magic players in your town. You're like, hey, it's the Gray Merchant. And you shouldn't say anything. You just nod and keep carrying your sack of mana or whatever it is he's carrying. They're always working. Kind of a slave motif if you think about it. Where are they going? Anybody know about the Gray Merchant? I have everything turned up. Weird. Oh, all right. Shiraz, quit making me freak out. It's on your end. Maybe you toggled your mixer or something. All right, let's see. We've got some eyes to build up here. I'm going to just want to wet the area of the eyes. I'm going to goop the eyes here, at least one side. We're going to have to go on both sides of it, so it gets kind of messy. Don't try to fine tune. That's probably another big screw up. Like you sit there and you get close to, oh, hey, that looks almost close, and then you leave it alone. It's like, no. You want to structure. You want to keep building, keep tweaking, keep things moist, keep things moving. When everything's done, then you can finalize some stuff. But then we're just going to squish, push and squish. Making everything one piece. And the little nose crevices, stuff like that. And we're going to keep this area a little bit flat. Go like this. We'll come back to that in a minute. Look at the inside of the mask. And we're going to go here. Otherwise, it'll, push right into your eye if you're wearing this. So, and the little wispies that came off from, sawing and stuff like that, you got to be aware. Got to keep them back. Make sure structurally we're doing all right. Get rid of any big offending things. Let's rub that part there. Definitely going to need some more cheeks on that side. Rocking like this. Alrighty. Use the brush here because we need this to come down. If that's the case. Water. Right around the eyes always obviously tends to be a weak area just because Didn't put much plaster there, so. Now you see there's a little weak spot there. Don't want that to happen. There's not much of a hood up to the eye there, so I'm gonna just kind of stay with that motif. But again, this is the one area where if it's gonna look different, it's gonna look different here because of safety. A lot of times artists will make a cool looking mask on paper and then you build it one for one in real life and you know, get hit by a moving vehicle or something, and I don't want that. So I'm going to wipe off any of the residual clay that's just kind of trying to hang out and cause structural issues later, meaning like when you put it on, you know, you're like, oh man, that's too tight around my nose or something. And it's because, you know, some of the clay comes through on the other side. You can use it to reinforce these edges too, which we will another time. But for right now, I'm going to go wash my hands. We'll be back to keep moving on this. Yeah, they get awfully dry. So we're going to be back in just a few minutes. Enjoy Upright Citizens Brigade. I forget which one this is, but it'll be funny. How's that for nails? All right. Hey, I'm sounding about the same volume on this end. I'm reading the chat a little bit there. I don't know what to tell you guys. My monitor said the same volume, but whatever. Can't fix it now, so complain at your leisure. Let's go like this. Trying to build up this cheekbone on this edge a little bit more here. Got the nails set up here. This isn't so prominent on this side. Okay. Like I said, YouTube people will be like, wow, that was very fast, because we're going to eliminate that via copyright clipping. It gives you a little encouragement to come and join us live here, right? Okay. There we go. All right, that's a little bit harder of a shelf there. Again, a lot of these angles and stuff we're really going to kind of accentuate with paints and not so much structure. I just see a little bit of a dim area as far as in the features of the landscape of the mask. Keep rolling like this. Keep rocking like this. I'll rock the hair. Get this area nice and wet. We're going to be coming over here pretty soon, so I'll moisten that up now. Rock like that. Just keep smoothing as we're going. How many of you out there, and at Pauperganda me, or write my name so that I see the big bold thing pop up. But anybody out there thinking of trying this, I'd like to know. It's fine if you're not. It's pretty messy, but like I said, it's incredibly addictive. A lot of fun. All right. We got this coming here. This coming here. Nose is pretty basic. Make sure we keep the nose holes clear here. Whoop. Like that. All right, let's move on to the other eyeball. We don't want to touch this. We don't want to touch this. There's all kinds of things. Got a little bit of a divot there. Oh, nothing that some rubbing and water can't get rid of. Getting there. Getting there, getting there. All right. Oh. Okay, so we're going to take a goop of this. I'm going to kind of get it as elongated as we can. And we're just going to, I'm trying to get it right in half. So like just so that it comes out the underside of the mask too. I'm trying to clean up this eye hole a little bit. And we use this stuff to add structure to it, but also to give it its shape. I think Again, a lot of tricks to the eye areas of masks. You just, fire is good. Fire is very good. Gently hold here and come over to the other side here, and I'm just gonna rub these areas in. All right. Get another big fat chunk. Here we go. The table wettens. I should probably have some plastic down here. It is kind of a plastic-based table, but still. And my hand positioning there kind of screwed up our cheekbones. It's not like we're set in stone there. And whoop, there we go. Well, let me get this going here. This is a tough thing to do live. I'm not going to lie. Gonna rub these in here. Again, structure, strength. Or I should say strength, structure. I don't know what the prominent term would be, but we'll go from there. All right, there we are. Making sure to flip this over and not let this harden like this, because that's just a bunch of, you know, this would make it not fit your face really. But get some wet areas here and just smooth it nice and out there. Any of these areas. That's nice on your eyes later. Okay, back to here. Glad the nose was strong. Get these areas that we were elongating here. Let's go from here. Alrighty. So now we've got enough material there. We might be able to push it out, push it in. Looks like we're going to need a little bit more on that side. Of course, that side doesn't have as much material. If you look at the artwork, it's a lot bigger bag on that eye than the other one, but that's a perspective thing. We'll try to make it as uniform as we can. Now that we've got the built-up structure there. But again, it's all about merging before crafting. Trying to just make this all one piece. So a lot of times just by pushing and getting it to agree with us. Okay, so we'll have definitely enough to deal with there. Now the problem being, I want to make sure that we're not screwing up the others. So yeah, there's a lot of extra stuff here, so I'm just going to take that out. So I have to be a contortionist here. Try not to make that have too much material there. Let's get our chopstick going here. Like this. Cool to just leave these really drippy, heavy things and make it look like the Gray Merchant's crying. He is carrying a lot of weight after all. What do you think he's carrying? Did anybody get to that? I don't see any Paupergandas, so I guess I'm a low man on the totem pole here. All right, here we go with that. Let's see. Bevel that up a little bit more pronounced. Careful not to let, I notice the symmetricality of the eyes, is that a word? Is now. Trying to keep it as close as I can. Human faces are really weird, and you'll notice that when you do a mask, no matter who your model is. Symmetrical is all relative, and it's very rare that it actually truly happens. It's you look at something very under a microscope, you realize, oh my gosh, it doesn't look the same on both sides at all. You say that about the human face a lot. No excuse here. We're trying to get this to be a nice little, those little, what do you call, bags under the eyes. Bend them out a little bit, pronounce them. Again, paint will help a lot too, but nothing better than just structure. I'm going to look at the back side real quick, make sure we don't have any offending things that are going to harden up and make it very hard to wear. Because you can't always sand them down too. Should have modeled this after my son's face, because I think he's going to want to wear this for the next 10 Halloweens. We have a pretty cool Halloween town here in town, so mass parade and everything. I've worn some of mine to the horror of many residents. Scare the crap out of a lot of people every year. Good times. Just a little weak spot of the mask I want to adjust now. Alrighty. I still didn't play a challenge last week. I just didn't. The longer I go without playing competitive, like in a league or anything, the more I just kind of like the chill structure of tournament room and just nothing on the line. All else to say is it's very relaxing after just years of just almost every time I'd log in, I was competing or doing something, but kind of nice now to just chillax. All right, we're going to smooth this area out here and try to make this a little bit more like the other side, meaning we got more of a shelf here. Let's see, oh, almost rotten on the edge. Oh, I better not try to read chat. I'll have to catch up and understand what you guys are talking about way earlier. Okay. Let's go like this. What am I looking for? That part's a little more pronounced. Let's move this down a little bit. A little more bulbous there. That's a word we're after. Another trick, if you get this wet, you can just poke it in. You're actually making it all one piece in a lot of areas, so that when you do smooth it over, it's there's a lot more areas for it to hold when it's setting and forming and stuff. So I just wanted the cheekbones, even though they don't really match in the artwork, be a little bit more symmetrical. Around here, any extra material just spread to areas that might need it. There you go. It might be quiet because I'm not talking all that much today. Now I gotta smooth this out a lot more. Then we'll work on making it look like the other side. Let's see, this is a little bit smoother in here. There we go. Getting a little too much water now, so let's dissipate this a bit. Talk about good magic spells. Let's see. It comes down a bit more here. So we're going to get the rounded structure a bit more symmetrical. I can always adjust this side too. Bring it down a little bit. Bring it over a little bit. Smooth as we go, smooth as we go. This is the structure here. Get in there. All right. Okay, there's that. Oh, that's a little too pronounced there. All right, now we've got that structure here. Build the mouth there. Let's see. 1, 2. I like to make the hood a little bit, meaning up here in these areas. Make that maybe a little more pronounced. I think I'll set this down for here. Actually, let me see if I can use some of the paints we'll be using next week as structures to hold the mask up a bit more. There we go. And let's see. Well, that's not the best angle, is it? We'll go from here. I want to build this area up and this area up just a little falsely. I have to do it on both sides. It's all right though. Well, let's match the one that's going to be the problem first. We'll wet both sides of it here. I'll just goop this on here. Just trying to mirror this ridge. Not quite sure what the Gray Merchant story is. I don't know much about the lore. They're very powerful, but they kind of have that servant motif going on. So I don't know. They're just all in on the black cause or what? Got to be careful. I'm talking about black cause for magic, obviously. When any civil rights mumbo jumbo and debates going on when we're just doing a silly mask show. All right. Get this built up here. This is when it would be really good to be a cephalid or an octopus. What was that? Odyssey had a lot of cephalids, right? I believe so. Maybe not quite as pronounced, but we'll get there. Work on the eyebrows after the next commercial break, and then we'll probably let this all sit for a week. Do some light sanding maybe off camera, come back, and we'll do the fine tuning and probably finish it next week. Don't want to move too fast because, you know, little errors and stuff will happen, but I also want to keep it as a, if somebody wants to use this as like a tutorial on how to do it. I'm just going over here and fine tuning some areas. Yep. Probably doesn't look like much to you. Just even though it got this nice camera, thanks again to our coffee supporters. That's why we're looking at this and not this all the time. But I guess, you know, if I got super close, let me let the mic adjust. You can see how we're building some things up here. We're paying special attention to the horns at the top here. I call them horns, you know what I mean. They're not horns, but so sue me. All right, I'll get this a little bit more. I mean, it's not like sharp or anything, right? But I do want it to look a little bit more symmetrical when we're looking head on, so you can see the other side needs to be built up a little bit, but not much. Just make sure to wet everything. It's like concrete's got to have something to hold to. My goodness, the park next to where we live, they've made a new kids structure, and they're putting in it, making it all handicap, ability accessible and such. But God, I think they've been doing that for like 2 months now. Brother and I are always laughing about that kind of stuff. We're like, we could do that in 4 hours. Never want to go on a road trip with me. I'll see a mountain off in the distance. It's an ongoing family joke, and the kids will look at me and they'll be like, all right, Dad, how long to the very peak of that? And I'd be like, I don't know, 17 minutes or something. And they're like, what? I'm like, that'd take like 4 or 5 hours. And it's like, what are you talking about? There's no way that would take that long. All right, so we need some more. It's a little bit too much of a sloop going like this. We need it to be more of a steady build. So again, we're just going to wet it and forget it. Always erring on having too much, because you can always just keep, pushing, pulling, smoothing, fanning it out. It's always harder, as you saw with the eyeball or the bags under the eye fix. It takes quite a bit of extra effort to go back and then add a little bit more. It's much better to just have too much and then you just pull it off, pinch it off or whatever. You're getting a lot more symmetrical angle there. Don't want to ignore the back of the mask here. Just want to make sure that this is all smooth and looking good. Oops, screwed that up. Sorry, my fat hand's in the way. I can fine tune this a little bit more so later. Don't want a sharp horn, but we also don't want to we need a little bit more on that side, darn it. Just a bit. But we're going to put a lot more because I don't want to have that mistake I was just talking about. I'm just going to grab it and squeeze. I need to look a little bit more symmetrical. Should have put a lot more on there. Look at the other side too. Now we don't have to worry about the other side because if you look, it's not something that's actually touching our face. I'll clean it up at a later date. As you move around and stuff, I'm trying to keep the integrity of the eyes there because, my hand's on the back side and things are still setting. So it's kind of an ongoing state of chaos. Just trying to mitigate it here. All right, I got this going here. There we go. Here we are. Okay. And make sure that I got a little beveled edge happening there. Smoothing, smoothing, smoothing. All right, that's, I think I'm going to let that harden for now. Readjust later. Maybe sand some edges. Can fine tune. Point is, we've built it up enough to where we can work with it. Same with here, like, if you wanted to, you could already start like etching in like these what's good is these look very archaic, like they're just scratched in from, like what we're doing, like exactly what we're doing. Just like there's not like some perfect machinist sort of angle to a lot of this stuff. It's just Just some guidelines here to paint by later. We'll angle that off there. We get some extra stuff here. Why not use it? It's already wet, and get it in there. Nice little edges here. Just kind of keep these things a little bit rough. Now around the eyes, we come up and we definitely have a groove there. And then this just carries up, doesn't it? And we'll put this down here. Oh boy, this would be tricky, wouldn't it? Let's see. The exterior definitely has some edges there. Again, these are more painting issues. I just want to put a little bit of a divot there now so that we've got some guidelines. We start seeing a little bit of the accentuated angle going through. Looks like that's just a surrounding theme. Let's put this here. Surround it there. Take another. Just drawing as things go. Now, that comes down to the eye area, doesn't it? I think that might be better to do with a pencil as opposed to a very lightly. I don't want to get rid of these altogether, but I want to make them more of just a structural afterthought. So just very slight watering. So the marks are there, but not too set in stone. All right. And we look to the other side, which has... Oh, I didn't build up enough clay on that at all. I'm going to have to put just a thin layer there so we can at least see some of these features come through. That's right, we built up this edge, but we didn't really layer much else on there, so we'll have to address that just a little bit. Just a little bit. This YouTube video won't be up for probably a day or so, just because all the copyright crap I got to go through. It's pretty easy. It just says, this area is off. You want to clip it? And I say yes. And then it's like 5 or 6 hours later, it's like clipped. And it's like, what about this other one? I'm like, all right. 5 or 6 hours later, yep. And then just so you know, if you haven't done it before, that's kind of how it goes. All right, this is built up. Little issue right here. I want to solve now. A lot easier to just wet it and push hard than it is to sand it later. Hi, let's see. This comes over and down. This is definitely accentuated here. Just these nice scratching little reliefs that they've got going on. It's no big deal. Comes down in a nice swoop. It's a bit of a little weird circle thing here. These come down like this. A little bit of a thing there. Did I get the circle thing on this side? You can see where... Ah! Just real rough. Bit of this little circle motif here. Be pretty darn rough. Again, we're just looking for shadow play here. And that'd be a good magic card. Maybe it is a magic card. See, so that came right down the side from there to the edge. Top edge of the eye. And we brought it in because I can't see this side of the mask, so I've just got to kind of do what this side did. It wasn't that, but we can adjust. With just a little bit of water and love. Boink. Like that to be a little more pronounced. Angle here. Okay, it's getting there. I'm getting there. I think I'm going to let this harden up. I think that might do it for today's show. I'm going to fine tune and let the little things dry and stuff, but just some features here and there. Got to take this top edge, the horn area I'm fond of calling, dampen that side just a bit so it's not so over the top. Bring down and over. Don't want to lose the rivet or the look of lineation though. There we go. Go like this. Whoop. And for right now, I do believe. Hold on, let me do this part here too. There's a bit of an indentation there. There we go. Mask it very gently there. And for right now, guys, I think we're gonna call this one just for next week. We'll let me bring this up to this line here. We're getting there. These edges are looking a little bit more symmetrical. As you can see, we're going to be going along that edge and the other side. This is what it'll look like when you put it on. Oh! Anyway, well, thanks for joining me, everybody. I'm going to kill it for today, roll to a few things. We'll be back next week. I think we could probably move on to painting next week. I'm going to let this harden for maybe like an hour, and then I'm going to just do some fine-tune adjustments, just what you saw, a lot of dabbing, watering, this sort of thing and stuff. So anyway, looking good, says Shiraz. Okay to see you all next week. Masked people, Pauper people, yeah. Sorry if I ignored the chat. I know I did. I don't really have a choice. I can't really type or do anything else. But I'm going to let this set, and we'll see you guys back here, hopefully to finish up the mask show next week. And until then, enjoy. I think this is, again, I don't have my notes here. It's an upright Citizens Brigade skit. Adios, guys.
Oh no. Oh no, the plane is going down! Holy son of a mother! God damn it! You're a horse! Motherfucking lick! Dick! Jesus! I can't believe this! God damn! Help!
Okay,
Somebody
stop
help!
the simulation. That's exactly what Mid-Atlantic Airlines doesn't want. When an airplane crashes, everyone in the country wants to turn on the news and find out what you, the pilot, said on the black box right before you died. And we can't afford to have your final words embarrass the company. So, today we're going to work on what we call last moments techniques to get you through the crash without losing control.
I'd like to try again, sir.
All right. The first method is to try singing, since music has proved soothing in moments of high duress.
What should I sing, sir?
Doesn't really matter. Some song that you know and like. I sing Delta Dawn when I'm going down.
I don't know that song, sir.
Doesn't matter. Just sing some song that you do know.
How about the birthday song, sir?
Fine. If the birthday song is the only song you know, then sing the birthday song.
Great. My birthday was 2 weeks ago, and nobody remembered.
Well, then maybe you shouldn't sing that song.
No, I want to, since nobody else did.
Fine.
Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday!
Hey, this really is working.
Happy birthday to me! Oh, mother!
The song is too short.
Song is over, and we're all gonna die! Nobody came to my f***ing birthday party! None of us f***ing Why is this tree
I know I can do it.
All right. We've also found that a simple prayer to one's higher power can be spiritually calming in one's final moments.
Hey, this is just like flying. Oh no, I just lost both my engines!
Go to the prayer.
Dear Almighty One, I turn to you now in my moment of need. I call upon
all the powers of your dark forces to deliver me unto the fires of hell where I was born. My father a demon, my mother a jackal. Sweet, sweet Satan, now is the time for your reign of death and terror to begin.
Okay, that's enough. Most people don't feel comfortable flying commercially with Satan.
Why do we age Pauper brews twice as long as the guilds require? Because what's a couple more turns when you have 5 generations looking over your shoulder? Don't even think about it.
Available at Moros's Market.